Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of the Road to Old School MTG. In this video, I'll be talking exclusively about the Singleton format and specifically about the Singleton group that I'm in and the deck I've created. I'm going to be opening some cards primarily for the Singleton deck that I've created, but there's a couple odds and ends here and there as well for other things. But the main discussion for today is Singleton. So Singleton is when you create a deck and you're only allowed one copy of any card that it is not a basic land. Those are the only cards that have exception to that rule, basic lands. So I've made a green and white deck. That's the only Singleton deck I have. And the group that I'm in has their own Singleton format, 100 card Singleton. And they have their own specific ban list, because every card is restricted, of course. Every card you can only be allowed one of, other than basic lands. But basically the usual, the Power 9 stuff, Library of Alexandria, things like that, right? So this is what I have so far. So I want to go over the deck that I have currently, which is exactly what you're going to see here. And then I'm going to be, as I open up these cards here, I'll be discussing what I plan to change or what I will potentially be changing, because it's not 100% sure. This is more about ideas. And certain cards I got just in case I want to have it, in case I change my mind going one way or the other. So it's definitely still in the process of brainstorming. So let's start with land. So green and white, like I mentioned. So one Pendelhaven. And actually, as I discuss things, I'm also going to be talking about the effectiveness of the cards in the deck. Pendelhaven, solid hollow trees, and Occasion Store have been not really particularly good. They're basically in there because they provided the color of what I need, a green and a white. It's been a little, I wouldn't say it's totally useless, but it's not particularly useful. A lot of times I would have preferred just a regular land, but it has come into play every now and then, but not, the main reason why they're here is because I just don't have much else, honestly. They would be on the bubble for replacement if I had any other lands, but I want to keep the lands at 42, which is what I have right now. I believe I have 9 non-basic lands, so this is the best out of everything else, basically, right? So these two are hit and miss. If I had something better, I would change it. So if I do get something better, these are probably the first two to go. Pendelhaven has been solid. City of Brass solid. Desert has been good, not great, but yeah, good. Maze of If is crazy good in Singleton. Mishra's Factory is also very good. Strip Mine is excellent because you have 2 players that actually, let me say this as well. The Singleton format, we've also started doing a 2-headed giant, right? Where you're 2 players versus 2 players. So, and that's tends to be the main way we're gonna be playing the Singleton decks. And it's been going really good, right? So especially Strip Mines, there's 2 players worth of lands that it could destroy and so forth, right? So Savannah, of course, is solid always because it provides these 2 colors. I have 17 forests and 16 plains to round off the other 42 lands, right? So other than the Maze of If, every other land makes mana. Sometimes it's just colorless, but at least it provides mana. So this seems like a good amount of lands. I'm not playing around with adding more or less. Going into the artifacts, I'm actually going into everything else. I'm always going to put the non-creature cards first and then the creature cards in order of casting cost. Fountain of Youth, this is a card in the bubble. It's been actually decently good. I wouldn't say decent. It's been better than good. Not great, but it's been good, and depends on the game, right? Sometimes like I don't draw that much mana, and then I have other things to do, so that there's definitely been games where I played it and then maybe tapped it once or twice for the whole game. But there's other ones where the game runs long and I've gained probably 5, 6, 7, maybe more. And in Singleton, that's a good amount. The way we're playing is if we're playing one-on-one, one player versus one player, 20 life. If we're playing two-headed giant as a group, you have 30 life per group. So gaining 5 life, that's quite a bit of life gain, right? So it's on the bubble only because I want to put, I potentially have stronger cards here, but it's, it's, if I can, I'll keep it. Man of All is also one of those cards, if, like it's been good, not great, but I don't plan on taking it out anytime soon. Aeolio Pile, this is solid. Powerstone, solid. Tome, I just recently added. I'm not even sure if I've played it yet, but it's as I've seen from other players who have cast it, is very solid, so it's fine. Rod of Ruin, that's another one kind of in the bubble. I'm most likely to keep it, but it depends. But definitely could be on the bubble too for replacement. Icy Manipulator is just solid. It's gonna stay there. Definitely Brassman is on the bubble, most likely to go out. It's perfectly fine creature, so it's not being removed because it's a bad one. Actually, it's solid, but as I'm just wanting to add more and more things, something has to go, right? So then he's on the bubble. Same thing with Clay Statue. I had high hopes for it. I actually haven't even drawn it, I think. Maybe one time since I got it. And because I really thought that regenerate ability would be OP in Singleton, and it actually hasn't. Just having a good creature is what's powerful. And having a subpar creature that regenerates is really not going to do all that much. So it's on the bubble, definitely. Most very likely to be replaced. Dancing Scimitar, so. It's handy because it's flying, but it's practically just a flying wall, right? So it's on the bubble for replacement. But other things will go out first before that one. Juggernaut is solid. Clockwork Avian is solid. Trike is ridiculous. This card is super strong in Singleton. And these Tetris has been good, not great, but it's been good enough, right? Especially as there's not just, like also this the Golem. Nothing particularly great about it. 6 mana for a 4/6, but it's just a big body for not that much mana, right? Comparatively speaking, for old school, right? So but it may be on the bubble, this one, and I would keep Tetris over the Golem, Obsidianus Golem, mainly because it's just more versatile, and it's of course flying. But I may keep it as well. It's been decent, the Golem. If I replace it, it's just because the spots were tight and there were things that were better than it, right? But if it's on the bubble, it's towards the end of it. Right, so that's for artifacts. Now going into green first. So first, non-creature. So the deck is heavily on creatures in general, right? So I don't have much of things that aren't creatures. At least white has more, but green is mainly creatures. Giant Growth has been good. I wouldn't say it's great. Honestly, it could be on the bubble. I have Righteousness, which I kind of want to try out. But the thing about Giant Growth is that it's just better for more situations. Righteousness is a 1 white, it gives target blocking creature +7/+7 into end of turn, right? So that's a super solid card, but only for defense, right? So maybe I'm attacking and then they block with a creature that would kill my creature, or like they trade, boom. Or a lot of times there's a lightning bolt, things like that. You can use it to cast to save the creature, right? Give it more toughness. Righteousness can do any of that, right? So even though it's gives you a stronger pump, Righteousness is only in a very fine specific situation, right? Giant growth is just more versatile. But in general, like it's been, good, but I wouldn't say great. Regrowth, yeah, that's solid. Sylvan Library is crazy in Singleton. Solid, especially if you have 30 life, two-headed giant, that's even more life that you have to draw cards. Ice Storm is super solid because lands are very powerful in Singleton. Desert Twister was a more recent addition, and yeah, I really like it. It's a lot of mana, but it's it'll get rid of anything, right? So it's worth, and honestly, most games go the distance. You're talking about over 10 turns. So most games I say I would finish with 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 lands in play, right? So getting this much getting mana for these big creatures like this or the golem is not so bad. It hasn't been an issue for the most part. All right, so this is very solid. The main one that's on the bubble will be Giant Growth, but not so much, honestly. Like but that's the only one that I could see potentially maybe being removed. All right, so now going to creatures. Scavenger Folk is solid. A lot of artifacts. So things like I used to have a crumble here. I just have between this and then disenchant and just the whites and also Desert Twister. I just thought just crumble was a bit too specific, right? Plus it gained life for the opponent, right? So I just took it out. But in general, there's a lot of strong artifacts in Singleton. So Scavenger Folk is really solid. And of course, a lot of these 1/1s I have also because it works great with Pendlehaven. If I bring out that Pendlehaven, it's very, very strong, especially in my deck because I have a lot of 1/1s. Script Sprites, this is kind of on the bubble. It's been okay. Honestly, I haven't even done it all that much, but I mean, it's a good creature in general. But it may be on the bubble. Burst of Paradise, that's solid. Solid for Llanowar. Solid. Actually, this one has been decent because, as I said, games run long very commonly. So there's been games where I've gotten 2/1/1s out of this, right? And then it could be great for chump blocking. So it's been good. Also, Deep Shadow, solid creature. Sometimes you just need that extra mana, even if it's going to give you that point of damage. It's all right. Getting the mana when you need it is more important, right? So I don't use black, but it's basically ramp for colorless. Whirling Dervish is a solid creature. Pixie is great because, as I mentioned, a lot of artifact creatures and things like that. Those archers I haven't drawn it that much actually, but so far it's been okay. Giant turtle and spinning slug, they're extremely similar. 3 mana for 2/4s with drawbacks here and there. But they've been solid, especially as blockers, especially. So yeah, they're fine. Killer Beast, also a recent addition, it's been pretty solid, so I'm fine. Lay Druid is a bit of a running joke in our play group, but it's mainly because we didn't, we thought it'd be, good, of course, right? But I had a game where I was playing it and it was completely ridiculous. I had Pendlehaven out, I had Desert out, I had Maze of If out, and my teammate also had not Pendlehaven, but had Maze of If. So between the two of us, there's 3 or 4 Maze of If activations that you can get, or Desert activations. It's just and just also just fixes your mana, right? So it's an extremely powerful card, deceptively powerful. So it's great. Arnhem Jin, of course, is great. Giant Spider has been good. There's definitely good amount of flying, so things that help you with that is pretty good. If beef has been pretty good. Rajin Spur is kind of on the bubble. Made towards the end of the bubble, on the bubble for replacement, but it's been so-so. And honestly, I haven't even gotten it that much. And I don't think I've used it too much to remove flying from a creature. But it could be just because once it's out, the opponent wouldn't attack with a flyer because it knows it's just going to be blocked like anything else, right? So it's kind of, it prevents the issue from occurring, right? But all in all, it's been so-so. So it could be on the bubble for replacement. Boars has been solid. 5 mana for a 4/4, solid. Crawl Worm also has been decent, not great, but pretty good, good enough. If it gets replaced, only if, based on what I'm getting, there'd be something that's similar but slightly better. Force of Nature, there's been times when I don't have enough mana, right? Because between 2 colors and then me, it's just hard to get 4 green out. I've had this in my hand for a while and then never was able to cast it. So for that reason, it may be on the bubble, but we'll see. For now, honestly, if you see, right, there's not really all that much, especially in my deck, right? So 3/3, everything else is, below that. So there's just these 3 creatures that are above 4/4, right? 4/4 or above, right? 1, 2, 3, right? So really, that Force of Nature could be very strong just because there's so little beefy creatures here. And this one, for the artifacts, that artifacts have been pretty solid for that. They provide me more of the beefy creatures than you would think green would, right? But it hasn't been good for that. At least artifacts have been supplementing it way more than green. All right, so now going to white. So white definitely has a lot of non-creature spells as opposed to green only has like 4 or 5. I have like 8, 9 here. Spirit Link has been good, not great, but it's been decent. Land Tax has been ridiculous. You could land tax, get 3 cards, 3 lands, and if you have 7 cards, you can just discard all 3 of them because it's just going to thin out your deck. Because, as I said, I have 16 plains, 17 force. I've used it, and I've like discarded like 6, 8 basic lands because I just wanted it as for removal to thin out the deck. So it's ridiculous. Source Depositors, of course, great. Disenchant and Divine Offering, great. Only Divine Offering, I may change. I'm thinking about Dust to Dust because it gets rid of 2 artifacts at the same time. Although the life gain is pretty solid, so kind of debating that. So if one of these changes is not because it's not great, but Dust to Dust may be just a bit more powerful. And I don't know if I want to add even more artifact hate as opposed to just swapping one for something else that's slightly better. But we'll see. I mean, both of these are pretty solid. There's not too many enchantments. Disenchant, I would say 7 out of 10 is for artifacts anyway, right? So, and the life gain is nothing to sneeze at. So honestly, maybe the disenchant may be slightly more on the bubble than this. Only because I've seen there's more threats that are artifacts than there are enchantments, at least so far in our playgroup. Balance is nuts. Nothing to say there. Armageddon and Rafagat is crazy. Like, games run long, right? So even maybe your team or your team might be getting the upper hand, the opponent can very quickly flip it around. So having these 2 cards is very strong for either direction. Whether if you're winning, Armageddon, right, or if you're losing and the reason why you're losing is because the opponent has some of these lands that are crazy, Armageddon as a defensive measure. Same thing for F. If you're winning, like maybe you attack, you're more aggressive, and then that whittles down your army, and then you wrath and kind of like while you're gonna do it, right? So you kind of hold back in your hand, right? Or if you're defensive, if you're losing, boom, Wrath of God could save you, right? So these two have been really solid. Divillineers, solid card. Tundra Wolves, it's on the bubble. It's a fine creature, especially with Pendlehaven and such. But main reason why it's on the bubble, first of all, I feel like sometimes I have too many weenies, and not so much because this one is particularly bad or anything. It's just that the other ones are a little stronger in general, right? And if I want to add stuff, I gotta remove things, right? So some of these if they get removed, it's not so much because they were bad or anything, just something's just a little bit better. Like as a creature, I would say Tundra was better than the Javelineer, of course, right? But that ability is super, super handy from the Javelineers. That's why I favor the Tundra being removed before the Javelineer. 7 Alliance is always solid. This one's on the bubble. Occasion Scout, 1 white for 1/1. That's solid. Plus, it has very cool ability. 1 colorless, tap it. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn. So I could also give it to one of the creatures from my teammate if we're playing Two-Headed Giant. So this is similar to the, I guess, this one, the clay statue. Something that I thought would be, an ability regeneration, but then in practice wasn't so, so great, mainly because of the creature, right? It's, it's on a subpar creature, so it hasn't really been useful here for us. I don't know where these bugs are coming from. All right. So theory-wise, theoretically, I thought this was going to be solid, and honestly, I haven't even brought out all that much, right? So first of all, so maybe it still needs a bit more testing to prove itself. But so far, it's not really, like most of the time, the opponent is not going to purposely put himself in a disadvantage knowing you have this, right? So you'd be surprised a lot of the time you just don't even do it because your creature was going to kill his anyway, or his was going to kill yours anyway, and then only if their creatures are evenly matched is this helpful, right? And rarely it happens anyway, right? So it's for that reason it's on the bubble. Order is solid. Semi Healer is somewhat on the bubble. It is a handy ability. It's definitely has saved quite a bit of damage and prevents to creature or player, right? So it's pretty versatile. And cards that give 1 damage per turn are actually pretty popular in our Singleton group. So if the opponent brings 1 out, this has been handy and it has happened, right? So it's handy, right? Just one of the reasons why it might be on the bubble is just not because of the card itself, but and just feeling it's way too weenie here, right? So, but it has been decently good. Preacher is solid, of course. Sarang is always solid, no matter where. Northern Paladin is kind of so. 4 mana for a 3/3, honestly, that's not so bad in general. The ability is, of course, great, but it hasn't really come into play. So if I played it, and even if my opponent's playing a black cards, a lot of times black is like, instants and stuff like that, sorceries, right? So, and a lot of times this doesn't really have much to destroy. So, so for that reason, it is on the bubble for replacement. Okay, so discuss what I have here. So all that between that's 100 cards. So now let me share what I ordered. So this came to $21. I'm not sure why. 4, 8, 9, 10. Well, it has also with shipping. The shipping was I couldn't get it. Okay. Up higher was a different card I want to hide for now. So I might blur that out. Okay. So in the TCG envelope here, so you should get a Jasmine Boreal, cheap, 20 cents, just one. Mishra's Factory, I, of course, already had one, but I want to avoid swapping back and forth, right? And this Mishra's Factory is always a good card. So I just wanted to get an extra one so that it can stay here and just I don't have to move it. Omen of Fire is for my Alice deck. About 3 of them. So, oh, okay, I see, yeah. All right, so yeah, I see about 3 of these. So that's just $10 just between the Omen of Fires for my sideboard for the Alice deck. All right, so here, Sir Chandlar of Eberron. It's not particularly awesome creature, but it's okay, so. But it was $4, right? So unfortunately, you can only get it in Legends. But to bite the bullet there. Veteran Bodyguard, just one. And White Knight, same thing as the Mishra's Factory, right? It's a solid card, but I tend to use it for other things, or at least I want it available for other things. I don't want to go back and forth. So I figure just it's easier to just for me to buy an extra one and just keep one here at all times. All right, so let's take a look at everything. Sir Chandlar is near mint, as well as Jasmine. So the 2 legends are near mint. Everything else is lightly played except for the Mishras, which is moderately played. But like I said, this one actually am like not a big deal if it's not the most well-conditioned cards. And other players are doing the same, like they're buying cheaper, more beat-up versions just to put in their Singleton deck. Seem more heftier, but I guess there's not that many cards anyway. All right, so we're going to compare what I got to what I ordered. I have been where I've gotten 1 card less and such, right? So it's happened. We'll see if it happens again. And so the envelope with the receipt, I'll flip that around, and then the cards themselves. So the price was really $17.84, but between the shipping was $2.50, and then between that and then the tax, that's where it came out to almost $22. All right. I'm going in the exact order that it appears up here, just so I don't skip anything. All right, so Jasmine Boreal, near mint from the time shifted. Seems, yep, near mint. So 5 mana for a 4/5. That's pretty good. It puts her right between the boars. Actually, it already makes her better. For 5 mana, I get 1 more toughness than this one for the same amount of mana, although this is 2 colors, but just 1 of each. White and green is, I wouldn't think it's an issue. So that goes right between that one and then the Golem for 6 mana, 4/6. So it seemed like a pretty solid card that's in between those 2 things that are already doing pretty good in the deck. Mishra's Factory, moderately played. Honestly, this could go for light play. So sounds fine. So this is already in the deck. I'm just gonna swap it out for the one that's there, so I don't have to swap so much. 3 Omens of Fire, lightly played. Yep, lightly played. It's got a little okay. Yeah, good enough for lightly play. But like I said, this is for Alice anyway. Now, Sir Chandler. So this one is 6 mana for a 4/7. So which is not the best, but it already makes it better than the Golem. For the same amount of mana, has 1 extra toughness. That's definitely comes into play. So that's the reason why. And unfortunately, it's only available in Legends, right? So even though it's honestly a crappy card, but for the purposes of Singleton, like I said, if I already have this, then that's even better. So I may, if I can fit it, I'll keep the Golem and this. But honestly, this seems like it's going to be a replacement for the Golem. Better than Bodyguard. So I wanted to have it. So I'm not still 100% convinced I'm going to put it in the deck. So it says lightly played. Yeah, lightly played. Kind of see a little thing there, but actually still lightly played. The same thing, lightly played for the White Knight. Yeah, lightly played, good enough. Yep, and this is already in the deck. Just gonna swap out the one I have there. So Bodyguard, any unblocked creatures damage is dealt to the Bodyguard instead. So that's is a handy ability, but it's a 5 mana for just a 2/5, right? So I'm still on the fence. I just wanted to mainly have it as a possibility, right? But it's definitely not 100% going in. All right, so that's the first one. So that's definitely what I got. I got what I ordered. Let's take a look at the next envelope here. So this one was $6.42, and then with the shipping, almost $7, right? So, but honestly, this one is has more stuff going on than the other. So Jalen Tom, I didn't have it at all, but this card is actually very, very good in old school because, like I said, games run very long. You're gonna have a lot of basic lands. You're just gonna put like I said, very common for you to have 6, 8, 10 more lands in play. So, and most likely than not, you're not gonna need all that later on in the game. So it's been very solid card that I didn't have, and it's just 20 cents. So I just got the place it. So near mint for this one. Hey Takahashi, I just wanted to have it as an option, but I don't. It's not really gonna go there. Near mint, 14 cents, just the one, because it's honestly a crappy card. Rubina Soul Singer, similar. It's actually this one is actually a pretty solid card. And I'll show it to you guys. But I just, one is more than enough, and it's more. I just wanted to have the option. I still gotta think if it's possible. Witch Hunter's actually, that seems like a strong addition to that. I'm strongly leaning towards adding a Witch Hunter, but since it was so cheap, 24 cents each, I just bought the playset anyway. Wailuli Wolf, I only bought one because it's actually a buck each, and it's not, it's a so-so card. So honestly, I might not even add it. Kind of similar to Elven Riders, although this one is probably likely to be placed. And I'll show you guys. So lightly play for that one. Regrowth, I already have a Regrowth here, but Regrowth is a restricted card throughout all of old school, right? So I only bought the one, but it gets used a lot, and I didn't want to put it back and forth. So a lot of these cards I'm buying one extra just so that I can stop swapping back and forth. Dark Heart of the Wood is actually a card I kept forgetting. It's not for this deck, because it has black in the casting cost, right? So it's not for Singleton, but it is for my Armageddon decks that I like. There's especially for the X points. The players have played an Armageddon version with Dark Heart of the Wood, and they've, I believe, won the X points tournaments. So it's a card I've wanted, but I keep forgetting. But now I have it for them, right? So that's for traditional old school. People of the Woods, $1 card. Definitely it will be added to the deck. It's very strong. All right, so that's what I should be having here. And actually, since I'm here, might as well. This is a package I received, I believe, like literally the day of when I met up with my play group recently. So I didn't record the video, mainly because it's not much happening here, but also because I needed the cards right there and then, right? So, and it was a mixed bag. So meltings, I got 4 meltings. This is for my Alice. Same thing for the Orcish conscripts. I had 3. I just needed the one more because I was thinking about putting 4 in a certain deck I'm making. But I'm not doing that anymore. But still good to have the playset anyway. I like having playsets. So that was for Alice anyway. That's when I got the Desert Twister. I have a playset, but it just needed the one here. But as I say, I like playsets. Same thing with the Late Druid. I got the playset. But I was glad. These two cards have been really good, especially the Late Druid. And then I didn't have enough planes in general. Like I said, I want to keep these lands here, but I still want to play green and white. So I needed to buy extra lands. For the green, I already had enough to accommodate having some here permanently, some forests permanently here, and still have some forests for my other needs. For planes, I did not have that. So I needed to buy extra. All right, so I just wanted to fill you guys in on that one. All right, so now let's open up this package and then compare to what I ordered. Well, honestly, this one seems like it's the more important out of the two. For the first package, this one is not, 2 cards are already in the deck, right? I'm just buying extras. This one is, I don't know if it's going in or not. So really only 2 new ones, 2 just extras, and then 1 that may or may not be used anyway. This one has new things and things that are definitely going to go in. But there's also some things that are just there just in case, just to have. Then it came in a little envelope with these pouches, and then they added this extra reinforcement on the cardboard for the back. So I like that. And then it came within in penny sleeves. All right, so same thing. I want to put it in order. Tomes I got 4 of. Takeshi, Soul Singer, Witch Hunters already in the order that it showed. 1 Wolf, 1 Elven Rider, 1 Regrowth, 4 Dark Heart of the Woods, 1, and then 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so this is the order. Let's see if the conditions also match. 4 Chronicles, Jelim Tomes. I only need 1, but why not have a playset just in case? But I definitely could see me using this card in other decks also, right? So, yep. Near mint seems fine. So let's look at Kei Takahashi. So it's the colors for this deck. 2 colors, white and green. 2/2 creature, tap to prevent 2 damage to any creature, right? So not particularly good. And it's the Samurai Healer actually is way more versatile because it creature or player 1 damage. This is only for creature, right? So honestly, like I don't see myself using it. I just wanted to have it as a possibility just in case. Rubina Soul Singer. This card is super strong, but it has 1 blue. So it has 2 colors, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 green. 2/3 creature, right? So it's not good because of its power or toughness. It's good because of the special ability. So the special ability is, so you may choose not to untap Rubina Soul Singer during your untap phase. Gain control of target creature. Lose control of target creature. If Rubina leaves play, you lose control of Rubina, or if Rubina becomes untapped. Right, so tap it, you gain control of target creature. So you get to choose it. As opposed to Preacher, the opponent chooses what to give you, right? You know, still a creature is a creature, right? But this is such a strong special ability. I'm considering splashing her in. But you know, like honestly, I don't know how many additional sources of blue I can add. So currently, what could make blue right now in my deck? Cedar Brass 1. That's the only land. But I do have Tropical Tundra and Tropical Island, right? So those are a land that gives me green and white. green and blue and white and blue, right? So I have those two, but that's just two more sources, right? So between that and then the city of Brass, that's 3 lands that could give me blue. The land tax, I could put just one island in case I get the land tax, and then I could get that one blue because I just need one blue. So land tax is another card that could potentially give me a blue. So 4. I don't think anything else is here. Yeah, nothing else here. And green. For green, of course, the birds. So 5 things that will specifically give me blue. 4 really, right? The land tax is situational. This gets black, not blue. That doesn't really do anything for colors. Artifacts, the only thing here is the Felwar Stone, if only if the opponent is using blue. But the good thing is if two-headed giant, either opponent has blue, then I could get it, right? So really 5-6 cards that could give me blue, right? So that's very unlikely, right? So I really want to add it, Rubina's Soul Singer, but it just seems like not possible. All right, Witch Hunters. Another player played this, and then it was really, I really like the ability. Actually, let me check the condition. So for both of these, marked as near mint. Yep. But because the Witch Hunter reminded me, because I can already tell this one is not near mint. But I guess close enough. This one has a bend, but seems like it's from the manufacturer. All right, so, but you don't feel it. All right, so Witch Hunter, 4 mana, 2 colors, 2 white, 1/1. Witch Hunter, tap Witch Hunter deals 1 damage to target player. So that's so-so, but it's definitely useful. But 1 colorless, 2 white, tap, return target creature any opponent controls to owner's hand. That is definitely very powerful. So I definitely want to add it, but I may change my mind just because, you know, honestly, I'm likely not to change my mind. I'm pretty sure I'm going to add it. So the other ones are, yeah, honestly, maybe 2 are near mint, 2 are light play, but close enough, especially for TCG players. Wailuli Wolf. This one is, when I ordered it, I was hopeful, but then I'm kind of like, after this recent game that I had with the Singleton, or games that I had with the Singleton deck, like the weenies of green and honestly white also, if I get a lot of them in the beginning, this deck is really strong. Like people have told me, like it feels like I'm running just a regular 60 card weenie deck. But if I don't get that strong start, I'm getting a freaking Thalit in turn 6, or also Deep Shadow in turn 6 is just 8. It's just a waste of time. So I'm kind of trying to not put so many weenies, or if I put a weenie, it's like it's got to have a really strong ability. This one color is 1 green for a 1/1, so works for Pendlehaven. But tap to get target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So I don't know how strong that ability can be. So we'll see. But it says near mint, 5th edition. Yep, near mint. That was $1. Elven Riders. I just bought the 1 because this card is crap. But it may be useful here. So here, light play. This is not light play already. This is moderate play. Ooh, it's really scratched up on the back. I don't know if it's, I don't have the best lighting here. I mean, you can already see just the scuff marks there. But yeah, you can kind of see, right? It's definitely, it's been used. It's not, this is not light play. It is honestly moderate plate. Yeah, this is moderate plate. Some people might even put this as heavy plate, honestly. So that's disappointing. But it's 14 cents or whatever. All right. 5 mana for a 3/3 cannot be blocked except by walls and creatures with flying. So an opponent played this against me, and I had very little defense against it, right? So it was strong because of that. Saying I just wanted the option. So it's possible I put it, but we'll see. Regrowth, of course, is a solid card. Lightly played, and I guess this is lightly played. Yeah, this is more like played condition, not moderately played, but played. I would say this is played, but whatever. So this is the one that's going to stay here then, because my other one is, this is near mint. So that's just a straight swap. Then 4 Heart of the Woods, supposed to be near mint from the dark. Common, but it's an instrumental part of certain Armageddon decks. Yeah, 3 of them are near mint. One of them is, well, 2 of them near mint. One of them is like light plate. One of them is in between light plate and a step below. But whatever, but especially they're 25 cents each. So that's for just old school. This is another one. Definitely going to be added. So it is a winner, right? Like I said, trying to not put so many weenies because I already have enough. But I think this one is strong enough to make an exception. 2 green for a 1x. X equals the number of 4s its controller has. The star below represents the number of 4s controlled by People of the Woods controller. So once again, this is based off an opponent having this creature, and I just saw it in play and really grew up pretty big. Although that player was playing mono green, right? So, but I definitely want to add it, right? So if I add something that is not necessarily it's gonna stay, right? So sometimes it's just for testing and seeing. So People of the Woods is one of those. I'm definitely adding it, but it's not necessarily gonna stay there. So same thing with Elven Riders. I want to add it. Same thing with this one, and also Witch Hunter. Although Witch Hunter, I have a stronger feeling that it'll stay put. But this one, also I have a strong feeling this one will stay put. But we'll see. Elven Riders and so this one also. Rubina I really want to add, but it just doesn't fit. This one I'm not adding at all. I just wanted to have an option, but yes, I will add, absolutely. All right, so, and then of course the Tome is a no-brainer. This card is crazy in Singleton. All right, so then between this, I gotta then make decision, right? And the lands, I don't have any lands, new lands, right? So this is just staying as it is. It's more about taking out things. Right? Tundra Wolves is on the Acacian Scout is on the bubble. Semi Healer, maybe I might keep it. This one make a swap Northern Paladin for the Witch Hunter. See how much that ability comes in handy. Here, the non-creature spells are all very strong. So then sprites are on the bubble to replace Thalet, maybe. It's been helpful, right? So it hasn't done nothing, right? But we'll see. Pixies are fine. Honestly, I will take the Archers over the Pixies if I needed to remove something. Killer Bees has been good. They drew it as crazy. All right. This is on the bubble. So yeah, honestly, the deck is very solid. Right. So my main complaint, honestly, is later in the game when I'm getting those weenies in turn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's just useless. So that's why the weenie has to have very strong ability, or just be a super, super strong weenie where it could still have some kind of use later on, right? So People of the Woods could potentially still be pretty solid blocker later in the game, right? If I have 5, 6 4s, it's a 1/6, right? So that's definitely can be a good defender, right? Even later in the game. Right. So the deck is very solid, honestly. So, but that, like I say, was saying, I want to beef it up a little bit, so these two definitely are going to be added. Yeah, that's really the only two beefy creatures that I bought. Owen Riders, well, that's not a beefy creature, but it's a somewhat strong creature. Yeah, these two are definitely added. Just give me a bit more strength. Something that's good mid-game and late game. So I need more of those cards that are good mid and late game cards. And I could still, with a little ramp, maybe get them out on turn 4. Maybe with a mana vault, maybe turn 3, right? So it's possible, right? Definitely have decent ramp. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking to add, or tome, right? Something that's good for running through the deck quicker, right? So the weenies, any weenies, I would really do a straight swap, right? So I'm not gonna add more weenies. I'm just gonna replace one for another. And if anything, I might take out some, right? Especially to add, some beefier guys. And I have 2 really big, expensive cards coming up in the mail. One card was $140 with fees $150. Another card was $90 with fees close to $100. One card, the $90 card, just got it for Singleton, so that was a bit of a crazy decision on my end. But it's a very strong creature. Unfortunately, it is a weenie, but it is a very strong weenie, so I did want to have it. But the other creature is the other card is an artifact. But that one is paid with fees everything $150, but it is definitely a very strong card that I could use in old school in general in other control decks. So that one is definitely more worth it. The $90 one, I kind of that one is it's a perfectly fine card. It's a very strong card, but it's just not. I wouldn't normally use that card. But $90 is pretty cheap, right? So it's that card can definitely, it goes normally 130, 140 for just an okay condition one, right? So for the price I paid for it, that's what I'm kind of rationalizing it to myself, right? So I got the card itself is, nothing spectacular, but it is a very expensive card, in terms of the price I paid for it. I got a good deal on it, right? So, and it will be very useful in this deck. Right, so those are 2 big additions that are coming up. So whatever I decide here, I'm going to end up deciding a bit more anyway. And honestly, there's still even more things to improve on. I still want a Suchi. And let's see. So there's still a couple little things here and there, that are expensive, right? But I wanted to kind of hold off on. But the Suchi seems like it's definitely going to come up. If I see something good online, I'll definitely pull the trigger on that. No problem. Right, so I'll make some decisions here with this, and there's 2 cards more coming in the way, more decisions. And then once I get those additional things that I do want, even more decision, right? So definitely very much still a work in progress, but it's it's as is already pretty good. I've won games. But just making it more mid to late game stronger is the goal now, and just making it stronger in general, right? So I think this definitely goes there. This one definitely goes there. Excellent for mid late game, the Janum Tome, because I could just pitch the lands I don't need because I have enough of, and then just get something that's better, quicker. Right, and then some other ones here and there, we'll see, right? Some of these are just, like I said, straight swaps for another, so I'm not swapping back and forth so much. But we'll see. I was thinking about maybe deciding right now, but first of all, I don't want to make the video any longer than it is already. But honestly, like, I don't want to rush to make a decision anymore, right? So it's going to be, I got to really think about it. But a lot of good options, definitely 3 definite, 2 strong, a couple of strong maybes. So let's see, what's a strong maybe? That's a strong, very strong maybe. That's a strong maybe. That's a strong maybe. Yeah. And then some other ones, like I said, K, like that's just, and Bodyguard, that's just to have. Soul Singer, strong, but so far it's mostly just to have. But if I can get those extra mana, I might blue mana, I'll see. Right. But that's what I have so far. And for me to make decisions and make my deck just that little bit more stronger, just that little bit more consistent throughout a good 8, 10, 12 plus turn game, right? It's very strong in the beginning and it's decent midway. I can definitely, I've, like I said, I've won games, but I've definitely felt pretty impotent as well during Winnie's mid-late game, right? So want to add a bit more of that beefiness to it, a bit more of just the ability to cycle through things quicker. Pitch a weenie, even if I get a 1/1 weenie, I might not even cast it. I might just pitch it to the Jalem Tome, right? So things like that. And even the James Day Tome is a recent addition that I've added, right? So just definitely this needs more drawing in general, right? So that's why also the land text is super strong for that. So we'll just make it more consistent, more for me to be able to get things and so forth, right? So all right, so now time for me to make those decisions. And as I get more cards for this specific deck, for this specific format, I will make follow-up videos. So, but for now, I'll leave it up to there. Thank you for watching.